Hey everybody, this is Dominic, DeAngelo of WrestleZone.com. Today's date is August 21st, 2020, and I'm so happy to have with me here today none other than Scorpio Sky, who's just coming off a big week from Dynamite in his AEW TNT title match. Scorpio, thanks for joining me, brother.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. So let's talk about it. Just coming off of that, and how's the whole? I know it was a defeat, but it ended up being one of the highlights of the show, and people were really anticipating that match coming up. How did it feel just being in the thick of that, and then just the aftermath of it, so to speak?
Well, it was good to get back on Dynamite. It had been a little while since I'd been on the show, and to actually be able to get back on the show with a big, high-profile match that people were excited about was great for me. As you know, I did a lot of tag team matches and had some big tag team matches. And a tag team run as one of the champions in AEW, but I haven't had a lot of high-profile singles matches. So gaining the experience, even with the loss, I was able to get a lot of experience, and I think it's going to help me going forward and hopefully many, many more big singles matches.
Yeah, what was the reaction backstage after the matches and everything like that you had? Did you feel pretty positive after it was all said and done? And what was the reaction from your colleagues like Kaz and Chris Daniels too?
Everybody seemed to enjoy the match. A lot of people thought I was going to win, which is cool that I was able to get even some of my peers to buy in. So, I was pretty happy with the match myself. The only thing I would say is, that could have made it better is if we just had more time, which is tough on TV. But maybe in the future I'll get back in there with Cody and maybe to be at a pay-per-view or something. And I think if we have 20, 25, 30 minutes, we can actually put on a classic that people will remember for years to come, I hope.
Yeah, you guys did show some chemistry there throughout it. Working with somebody like Cody and seeing how runs like he and John Moxley have been on with their title runs, has that been kind of a huge motivator for you too, especially now that you started off doing more singles competition with more of a focus on that?
Well, Cody is one of my favorites, honestly. He's one of my friends as well, but I see how hard he works, and Moxley as well. I don't know Moxley too well personally, but I've seen the work that Cody has put in, obviously, even outside of the business side of things that he's always busy doing. On the wrestling side, his catchphrase is "do the work." And it's not just a catchphrase. He actually does the work. You can see it if you follow him. He's got himself in amazing shape. He is possibly in the best shape he's ever been in his career. And he's at the top of his game. So I watch a guy like that and I say, okay, that's a guy that I have to try to compete with. If I'm going to get to where I want to go, that's the guy I'm possibly going to have to leapfrog. And it's not going to be an easy task. And, you just have to have that last man in the gym type of mentality and being willing to outwork everybody else. And that's what I'm willing to do. And him and other guys like Moxley give me that motivation and makes me keep pushing myself and know that those are the guys I'm going to have to get on the level with. So it's a lot of motivation.
Yeah, absolutely. And how's it feel too to everybody? The big thing, I think, a real big takeaway was your ability to showcase yourself on Dark with that epic promo that you did of kicking down the door and everything like that. How did that feel to be able to kind of express yourself in that way, get the opportunity and a little bit of a platform to kind of showcase a little bit of you rather than SCU as a whole unit in a little bit of a way? Was that how did you feel coming into it, and then your feeling after it was all said and done with that?
Well, I actually thought I had a pretty good run on Dark, and I say that not as if the run's not over. It's not like I'll never be on Dark again, but
sure, yeah.
I thought I had a series of really good competitive matches that showed that I can be a legitimate singles wrestler. And one of the things that I've seen that critics have to say about me is that they don't know if I can talk. They say he's got all, obviously he's an athlete and he's got all the in-ring ability that he needs, but we don't know if he can talk because I haven't had a microphone in front of me too many times. Obviously there was the Jericho moment, which was great, but that was a one-off. This was another opportunity for me to prove, yeah, I can talk. I'm the total package. I can walk, I can talk, and I could back it all up. So this was really, really good for me. Again, it was a step in the positive direction as a singles wrestler and show people again that okay, I'm coming. I may not be there yet, but I'm coming.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a work. It's always like just a step by step. You're getting it knocked out of the way, and what's gonna be kind of cool too is being able to have some fans there again. I thought something that I thought you guys have done great on AEW and Dynamite is still bringing that kind of live, immediate feel that you have with a lot of like your colleagues in the crowd or whoever it may be, kind of like creating that environment. And I thought you guys did a very nice job keeping up with that. But how's it going to feel being able to have like fans back in the crowd in Jacksonville at Daly's place, and just having that kind of extra element added to it?
It's going to be awesome. The one thing that always stood out about AEW is our fans.
Yeah.
And AEW listens to the fans, and they truly, genuinely care about the fans. The company does, us as professional wrestlers and performers, and we all care. We feed off of that energy. And I think the shows have been tremendous in this tough era that we're going through, but the only thing that's been missing is that energy from the crowd. And so being able to bring that back and doing it in a safe way, it's going to be outdoor, it's limited physically distanced seating. We're only doing 10 to 15% capacity, and we're in full compliance with the state and local regulations and the CDC guidelines. So, I'm excited that we're able to do it, and we're able to do it in a safe way. And I think the people that are going to be there are going to have a blast. And it's been a while, and it's been too long, and hopefully everything goes well.
Yeah. And like I said, I think just the environment that you guys created on your own too was unique and kind of had that like classic, made each episode stand out. Something I tell my brother too when we do our show is that like each week and out, it feels like AEW delivers like almost like a unique event experience on each and every episode. Like there's something tangible that stands out to each one. Do you kind of get that vibe going in week out, and like whether you're on Dark or just being a factor on Dynamite and stuff like that too?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, this has been a really tough time for everyone. And over the last few months, I think AEW has done a tremendous job with putting out an entertaining product for the people. And, a lot of us have had to be home. And even when I wasn't able to travel to shows, I was able to just stay home and stay connected. And they'd say, send us a video or whatever. So I would try to stay connected the best way I could. But I really have to take my hat off to everyone running things. They've done a tremendous job with trying to keep things as entertaining as possible. And this is a very memorable time in wrestling. We're going to look back at this time years from now, and I think we're going to have some fun stuff to look back at, like the stadium stampede match, and we're going to say that was an odd time in pro wrestling, but it was fun at the same time.
It's gonna be neat too, like when you're like a couple years ahead, and that you were part of that kind of era too, and like that was a part of your time too, as in part of your career. It's got to be it'll be interesting to look back on that, be like, holy smokes, what a weird, strange time that was for everybody.
It's not too bad for me, honestly. Especially we have some of the crew at ringside. Coming from the independent circuit, I wrestled in front of 5 people in the past and no people. Yeah. So, it's an adjustment from the 10 and 15,000 seat arenas, but yeah, it wasn't that tough of an adjustment.
It's not too much of an adjustment. No.
Yeah, not for me.
Yeah. You talked about working on Dark a little bit, and some of the newer, younger talent. How did that feel? Like, were you able to kind of almost be like a mentor in a lot of ways with them, or did they really pick your brain in a lot of ways when you worked with them a lot of the times, or how did that go? And did anybody really stand out to you that you worked with too while you were on Dark? And not that you're over with it, but just going forward a little bit.
It's not like I was working only kids, on Dark. I had some matches with some veterans. I wrestled Aaron Solo, who's been around for quite a while, and I thought him and I had a great match. He's one of those guys that just didn't really, he, like myself, the way I was in the past, just was there and was always talented, but just didn't have that moment to shine to where people open their eyes and realize who he is. I got to wrestle Serpentico, who's a friend of mine, and I think he's an extraordinary talent, and I'm happy that we have him now. I wrestled Will Hobbs. Will Hobbs has been around a long time, and he has an amazing story of, his brother stepped in front of a bullet for him, and they had the dream of being professional wrestlers, and his brother obviously, tragically died, and now he's living out their dream, which is amazing. But I also did get to wrestle young guys like Lee Johnson. And I think Lee Johnson is the future of AEW. He's young. He's probably only about 22 years old. He's got a good look. He's got a good body. He's athletic. He gets it. He listens. And he's going to be a guy that, 5-10 years from now, he's going to be a big time player in this company.
Yeah. No, that's kind of what's been neat about Dark is like you get a whole diverse group of people, whether they're seasoned veterans that we've seen, like some people have seen throughout, the time of wrestling, or like newer guys that kind of get introduced. And it's a nice mixture that I think Dark produces. And it's kind of neat to just go and take a look at that for fans be able to do that, whether it's on YouTube and everything. So
I tried to take that as a challenge. Wrestling different people all the time. One moment you're wrestling King Serpentico, who's obviously a smaller wrestler, and the next you're wrestling Will Hobbs, who's 300 pounds.
Yeah.
And I kind of looked back, I was a huge Bret Hart fan growing up, and I kind of looked back at Bret Hart in his run where he would, on Superstars, he might wrestle Isaac Yankem one week and the 1-2-3 Kid the next, and he always had consistent good matches. And that was kind of my goal for this run on Dark. It was like, I don't care who they put in with me, I'm gonna have a very competitive, good match that people can look at and have fun and say that was entertaining. So that was
absolutely. And Brett's a perfect example of that too, because he had those dragons that he had to slay, whether they were like different sizes or anything like that, people with Shawn Michaels' size, or whether it's bigger dudes like you were saying, Isaac Yankem and everything like that. How did this is a more of a side topic, but when Bret Hart showed up there for AEW to present the belt and everything like that, how did that feel, like being an avid fan of his and like somebody that you looked up to?
Oh, it was huge. As long as I have been in the business, I've never been on the same show as Bret Hart. Mm-hmm. And anyone that knows me knows that one of the reasons I'm in the wrestling business is Bret Hart. I was just as big of a fan growing up as you possibly could, or as you possibly could be. All of my family knew, he's, he loves, even people didn't know about wrestling. They knew he loves Bret Hart. He loves this guy, Bret Hart, I've never heard of, but he loves him. And so to be able to be on the same show with him was cool. I got to take a picture with him, which I was, I don't mark out for anybody. It doesn't matter who it is, the celebrities, whatever. I'm like, I live out here in LA, so I might go to a bar or restaurant and see, there's Kardashian or whoever. There's whoever. I'm never starstruck, but Bret hit my heart. I was like, oh yeah, okay, I'm gonna get this picture with Bret, because he was my hero growing up. So that was really cool for me.
It's neat that something that AEW does a really great job too is like tip their hat to the legends in a lot of ways. Whoever you guys bring in, I think that's a really cool aspect of the business that has been missing for a while. And it's cool that AEW pays the nod to that, but also infuses younger talent and new faces in there too. So I think that's a really great aspect to you guys as well. What as far as with SCU and everything like that, we saw Kaz sitting in the audience too the last week, and then we've seen Daniels play a factor on BTE and everything like that. What's your guys' dynamic currently, and how's that going for you guys as you make the adjustment a little, diving into singles competition a little bit, but and Kaz is kind of on looking on. How's that going for you, and what's the dynamic with you guys going?
Well, we're going back to a little bit of the original formula of SCU, where I was the singles wrestler and the Addiction, Frank Kazarian and Christopher Daniels, were the tag team. Obviously, we got away from that because things happened. CD got hurt in the tag team tournament on Dynamite last year, and I had to take his place, and Frankie and I were fortunate enough to end up being World Tag Team Champions. So we ran that until the wheels fell off, and now it's time to go back to what we originally were doing. And I think Frankie and CD are still one of the best tag teams in the world. They've been World Tag Team Champions in multiple companies. I would love to see them become World Tag Team Champions here in AEW. And as for myself, I've got a lot of goals as a singles wrestler. I have to know how, I've heard JR talk about it when he talks about me. Like, I got to know. I got to know. It always gets out. And I do feel that way. I have to know, how far can I run this thing? How far can I go? Can I be the TNT champion? Can I be the world champion? We're just going to have to see.
Now, yeah, that's kind of interesting. Do you find yourself more so focused on the TNT title, or do you have the world title? I mean, obviously you have world title aspirations too, but like, is TNT like your main goal at the moment, or are you like kind of just up for whatever comes your way and whatever opportunity arises?
The TNT Championship is my immediate goal. That's what I have my eyes on right now. Obviously, I want to be the AEW World Champion, but I think it's got to go step by step. And I think being TNT Champion will prepare me for to get to the stage that I could be a world champion and main event pay-per-view after pay-per-view after pay-per-view, which is the ultimate goal. But the TNT Championship, Cody has said, it's not a secondary title. You know, obviously it is. It's not the world championship, but to me, it's extremely important. I definitely want to hold both of them at some point because I want to be a Grand Slam champion. I personally would love to be the first Grand Slam champion in AEW history. But I want to go that Bret Hart route. I want to be a tag team champion. I want to win the TNT Championship, and then I want to be the world champion. And that is the goal. That's ultimately, that starts with the TNT Championship. That is, like, I was this close to it.
You were.
I'm shooting with you here. I mean, I'm getting in the ring with Cody and wrestling for the TNT Championship. It felt good. It felt really good. And I looked at that new belt, and I'm like, man, I want that. I truly, truly want that. And that's my immediate goal.
It's a good looking belt, I tell you what. Even before they added the finishing touches on it, I was like, I love that belt. That's like, it's amazing looking. You know, I was like, you can't beat that, man.
Well, yeah, and who wouldn't want to be the TNT champion? I mean, like, TNT is one of the best networks in the world, and to have that network behind you, and I see how the TNT Instagram and Twitter pages post, hey, this is our champion, Cody.
Yeah.
I want that. I want them posting, hey, this is our champion, Scorpio Sky. Like,
Heck yeah, TNT. That wrestling history too with TNT. You can't beat it, man. That's how I grew up. I was a Nitro kid, so all that stuff. It's like, it's got that whole lineage going on. Yeah,
I love
man.
TNT, man. I was watching the NBA playoffs this week. I was watching a Laker game. They're, AEW graphics. I'm growing up, I'm a huge, huge Laker fan. And then in the Laker game, an AEW graphic with my face on it pops up at the bottom of the screen. It's like, what is this life?
Well, you know what? I was going to talk to you. I was going to mention that in the interview. You're a big Kobe Bryant fan too, right? So, talk about how big of an influence he was. And I'm sure, just his passing this past year when everything has been really rough too. I could only imagine as being a fan. How big of an influence has he had as with a sports mentality, a competitive mentality, but also maybe what you were able to bring as a ring as yourself as a person too, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can't even put into words what an influence that he's had on myself. Growing up out here in the Los Angeles area, the Lakers they're just in your blood. It's in the water. It's part of your DNA. You are just a diehard Laker fan. And I was fortunate enough to grow up in the Kobe Bryant era. Kobe came to the Lakers. I was in middle school, I think, at the time. So obviously I remember Magic. I remember Jordan. But Kobe was my generation's Jordan. And even when I became an adult and I watched how hard he worked, it became more than just a fan, and the way he was just maniacal about his craft. And I kind of took that same approach towards pro wrestling, and to where it's just like, whether I'm hurt, whether I'm feeling good, whether I'm run down, whether I'm tired, no matter what I'm going to do, I'm going to put everything I have into this and try to overachieve more so than anything else. You can take all the talent you have, but you want to overachieve no matter what you do. You want to, you never stop being hungry. That's another thing. I've said it before. Guys kind of get to a certain point, and they get to this level where, we're in a big company, and guys kind of become satisfied. And I think one of the big things that I took from Kobe is I never let myself become satisfied. Kobe won 3 championships, and that's not enough. Now I want 4, now I want 5, now I want 6. And I'm the same way. It's like, I worked my entire career to get to a big company, and I'm not just going to stop here. Now it's like, okay, now I'm with a big company. What's next? I want to be a champion of the big company, and I want to be another champion of the big company. I want to main event after main event after main event in the big company. I want to be a legend. Like, you just never stop. You never let yourself be satisfied. You hit one goal, set the next goal. And I think that's something that you can take in your personal life and your professional life, and you will always grow and get better in both if you have that mentality. And as we call it, it's a Mamba mentality.
Mamba mentality. Yeah. That much. I know, dude, I'm with you, man. And that having that attitude, especially in a pro wrestling environment, I mean, all aspects of life, but especially in a pro wrestling environment, it's invaluable, I feel, for like top stars and everything like that. Yeah. And so it's going to be really intriguing. So, what something my editor always likes us to do is a watch list. It doesn't necessarily have to be any of your matches, but it can be. What have you been kind of watching or keeping fans engaged? Like, if you had to suggest to some fans that, hey, watch a set of these matches, is there certain ones that have been standing out to you that have been like kind of in the back of your head that whether it's you've been in or just any matches in general that you pick for fans to watch during these quarantine times, so to speak?
Man, that's a tough one. Obviously, I mentioned it already. The Stadium Stampede match was just pure brilliance.
Yeah.
It's one of the most fun wrestling matches I've ever seen. That was great. I love what Orange Cassidy has been doing.
Yes.
And a lot of people have some good or negative things to say about Orange Cassidy, but I mean, he's so unique and he's so different. And then if you watch him in the ring, he can go. He can absolutely go. You know, and it's like he has such a weird dynamic to him in the sense of he's, you know, sloth style, and he's so whatever, and he doesn't talk, and you kind of look at him and you kind of laugh and you're like, oh, what a great, you know, funny bit this guy's doing. And then he gets in the ring and you're like, holy cow, he's like a tennis ball out there. He's
got a fire too. Yeah, he's got that
fire.
babyface fire. Yeah.
Yeah, and he can talk. You know, we saw him in the debate against Jericho, and he took off the sunglasses and he looked Jericho right in the face and he said what he had to say, and I thought that was amazing. So I think watch Orange Cassidy. You know, if you're not up to par with him, I mean, he's doing some amazing things, and he's he's in a rivalry with one of the best wrestlers of all time. Look, I mean, that's
inarguable.
That's huge, you know, and for him to actually get up there and look on par with Chris Jericho, like neck and neck, that's amazing. So watch him, watch my run on Dark, you know, and most importantly, watch what we're going to do going forward. We got Saturday Night Dynamite, big card. And then even after that, going forward, myself personally, I think the run that I'm about to go on is going to be the best run of my career. You know, I've been around for a while, but I'm nowhere near peaking. I'm getting better. And so watch me over the next year, over the next 2 years, and hopefully I'll be able to have the opportunity and the guys to get in there with to have some classics that people will remember.
Absolutely, dude. Me and my brother, we always say the sky's the limit for you too. So you're gonna get it, dude. So I'll let you go with this. I'm a big Rocky fan. I know you're a big Rocky fan. What are your top 3 Rocky movies?
All right, top 3 Rocky movies. I gotta go. Probably 2, 3, 4.
Really?
Yeah, I think 2. I mean, obviously 1 is unbelievable. Balboa was amazing.
I love Balboa. I love Balboa. Yeah.
I mean, one of the most iconic speeches in history came from that with the, you know, it ain't about hard you hit. It's about hard you get it, keep moving forward. People don't remember that. I actually still think 5 was, you know, not as terrible as people think. 5 was a lot of fun. When Frankie and CD and I were in China with OWE, we were talking about Rocky 5 all week, and we decided, like, let's go. We spent the last night in China renting that movie on YouTube and streaming it to our TV, and we ate pizza and just watched Rocky 5. But 2, 3, 4, 2, obviously, the rematch with Apollo Creed was amazing. 3 had everything. You know, there was Mr. T, there was Hulk Hogan, he lost, he came back. You know, the training montage with in LA with Apollo Creed.
Apollo.
or you can't knock because there was a training montage every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, it's like just like the story of it was great. And then aside from that, you know, bonus round, I love the Creed movies.
Yes.
I love the Creed movies.
Yeah.
My dream is to I want Bret Hart to manage me for at least one match in the future. Bret Hart. We would be Creed and Rocky of pro wrestling. That'd be me and Bret Hart.
He's got the Rocky tassel cap on and everything. Ready to
That'd be
roll.
great. That'd be great.
That'd be awesome, dude. Awesome. Yeah, no, those are some good picks though. I love the Creed series, and Rocky 1's probably my favorite, and then Rocky Balboa I think's number 2 for me, man. So those, yeah, you can't beat Rocky.
There's really no bad picks.
No, there isn't. There isn't. It's Rocky. You can't beat it.
Yeah.
Tom's biased. He was in one.
Oh, I was. That's true. I was in
You
Creed.
were in one.
I was in Creed. Yeah.
Oh, you were in Creed. Oh, that's awesome.
At the final fight scene between Michael B. Jordan and the boxer Anthony Bello.
Yeah.
I was one of the ringside photographers, and so I was standing by Stallone for like the past for 6 days straight. And like the one time, you know how at the end of all the Rocky movies, you swarm the ring, the press swarms the ring, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I was off on the apron, and Stallone's in there with the cast and everything like that. And he looks at me, and I have this fake camera that I can't operate whatsoever. And he like looks at me. He's like, "See this guy right here? This is the #1 effing photographer right here." I was like, "Holy crap!"
That's amazing. That's so cool.
Yeah, it was neat. It was holy smokes, I couldn't believe it. Like I lucked into it actually, so it was pretty nice. So Rocky holds a special place in my heart.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, cool. Thanks for joining me, Scorpio. It's awesome to talk to you and get your insight on everything. I'm really looking forward to seeing you perform more in singles competition and just flourishing in AEW because, dude, you got the platform for it. And you got the ability for it. So,
thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, man.